Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indie Comics Explained. And yet again, I brought on another fantastic guest. But before we do that, please hit like, hit subscribe. Check out my current Kickstarter for the Oswald Chronicles. Check that out. Clive's Tale. It's on Kickstarter. It's in the show notes, so you can check that out. And without further ado, here's our fantastic guest. And I'm going to screw up his last name because I didn't ask him how to pronounce it correctly. But let's check it out. Kenny Aitken.
Hey, you got it. You got it.
All right.
That's
cool.
rare. That's rare too. I'm going to tell you right now. I get I've had to spell it out for 4 people today alone, and I know this because I had to go fill out some paperwork today. And somebody's like, "Is it Aiken? Aikn?" I'm like, Aiken. Ken. So, or somebody puts an S at the end too. That happens quite frequently, which is the strangest thing to me. So.
Well, I think what it is, they think Atkins, like the diet. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Because that's the first thing I thought when I first saw it, and I was just like, oh, okay, it's like Atkins.
Yeah, it happens. I'm so used to it. It's just a normal thing. And then like my wife, she gets it now too because she's got my last name. So she's like, what the hell is this? This is so weird. Like it's so obvious. There's no S at the end, but they say it anyways. It's so strange.
Right. All right, man. So let's get into it. So Kenny, one of my favorite questions, and I ask it to everybody. I just can't resist this question. All right. So little Kenny, long time ago, right? Not necessarily the first comic you ever read, okay? But what was the comic that you read that inspired you to do this thing that you're doing now?
Oh man, this specific comic, I want to say actually, I don't even think it was a comic book, really. I think it was more X-Men, the animated series, that really got me. That really got me into it. We had obviously some of the old Uncanny X-Men comics from like the 80s and stuff that my dad bought. And then I think the first one I ever bought though was X-Men #1 with Jim Lee. And who else was on that? Chris Claremont, I think.
Chris Claremont, yep.
Yeah, so I had the big one with the big fold-out cover, and I was like, "Oh, this big old poster thing." You know, I took it off the book and tacked it to the wall and stuff. And yeah, wow. a lot of those '90s things: X-Men the animated series, Batman the animated series, Spider-Man, all those '90s cartoons just really kind of brought me into it.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. So I mean, with those books bringing you in, what did you take from those books that made you say, you know what, this is what I want to do as far as comics?
I just love the stories, man. They're just so cool. Like, and then, I mean, obviously the art is, I've been an artist my whole life. So, doing art, I think it's just really cool. And then, just having that, way to tell a story with the art, and you could write something, but then also use the art to tell the story too,
No, I got you. That's cool. Now, but you're also a writer artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that writer artist thing, because I know you're writing for an artist for your book. So I'm wondering, like, what's your process with that? Are you like writing like a full detailed script, or are you writing like a Marvel style, where you're doing a synopsis and then maybe just giving a few instructions to your artist and you're coming back scripting later?
Oh man, okay. So I don't know how Marvel does it because I guess I should probably look it up sometime and just see what they're doing. But so what I did for mine is initially when I first started writing, I'm like, how the hell do I even do this? Like, what am I supposed to do? So I took the approach as if I'm like a screenwriter or a director. And just kind of wrote looked up script formats for like movies or something like that, and just kind of go in that route, and just kind of try to set the scene, try to set all this stuff. For myself, I was just kind of leaving things vague, and then when I brought Brian on, I went back through the script and I got really way more detailed into it because I wasn't sure how he was gonna interpret what I was writing, and a lot of stuff I was like, well, this is vague enough where I can remember like kind of what I was going for later. So for me, it was okay to write like that. But I think for Brian, I just had to make sure he knew what I was talking about. So.
Okay. That's cool. Now, when you're writing your scripts for your story, are you sitting there? Are you like, are you a pantser or a plotter? So are you someone who sits there and like meticulously works out every little detail before you sit down and write? Like you're sitting with little Post-it notes and you got a string. Or are you one of these guys, you just sit down and you just start pounding at the keys like, screw it, I'll figure it out later?
I think I'm a pretty good balance of both. Actually, somebody was asking a question on my Facebook feed yesterday, and I responded to it. And I kind of just said, like, I have Post-it notes. I mean, if you could see my computer screens here, I Post-it notes all over my computer screens. If I get an idea, I write it down. I'll text message myself something. I'll write down on a piece of paper in a notebook somewhere, and then eventually, I'll just get down to it. And I'll just compile everything into a Word document, get rid of what I don't like, keep what I like, and then refine it from there.
Gotcha. Now, so you're an artist, you're a writer. Now, are you a self-taught writer, or self-taught artist, or did you go to school at some point?
Currently, right now, I'm going to a community college out here. I've been taking painting classes for the last 4 years or so now. I do painting and different color theory kind of things, design, form, color, kind of those types of things. I've always been an artist, like self-taught, until that point. And I've just been refining my skills for the last couple of years, just really, really honing them in.
Right. Now, where did you meet your artist for your current project?
I met him through a good friend of mine, Garrett Gunn. He referred me to him. He had him do a couple sample pages for something. And I had already drawn 9 pages for Apex. And I'm like, this is taking too long, man. I got to get somebody in here to help me out. So I said, you know an artist that would be a good fit for this? And he said, yeah, Brian Belando would be a great fit for this. And he showed me some of his work, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's really cool. I like it. So I contacted Brian, we got together, and it's been great. He's such a good artist, and he's such a good guy to work with.
Oh, that's cool. But yeah, I mean, because as indie creators, I'm always interested in where people find their artists. I tend to find, one, I had to marry one, and then the other one I found on DeviantArt. So I'm always curious as to where people are finding their artists from, especially,
right.
What you get from referrals and that sort of thing. So that's cool. So, so let's talk a little bit about Apex, Cybernetic Samurai Owl. I love that title. What was the genesis of creating that title, man?
Oh man. Just the whole creation of the character, just the title. The character, I kind of made him out of I had a situation where I was working with a good friend of mine, and we were coming up with some ideas and stuff, and none of our ideas were really meshing together real well. So we kind of went our separate ways on the project, and I came up with my own thing. He went and did his own thing, and it came out pretty good for both of us, I think. I ended up making Apex, and I was just thinking of like, what can I do to make some like short? It's kind of thinking like in the Looney Tunes sense kind of thing, where I was like, I wanted to make short 1-page comics that would be like on like Webtoons or something like that, something really easy that I could put out like once a week, something lighthearted and easy. And I started drawing these pages that had just this overpowered owl that would like kill like Godzilla, or some kind of Godzilla monster, or one of them had a lightsaber wielding octopus and like all this crazy shit. And eventually my friend Garrett was like, hey man, just make it a whole book, dude. Just go for it, And I'm like, okay. And 2 years later, here I am, talking about how I have this book about this cybernetic owl. So when I went back through, though, I took a more serious tone with the book, with the actual comic book, and eventually, I think I'd like to go back and make little shorts again, and just like little comic strips that are just kind of silly. I think it'd be kind of fun.
Well, that's cool. Now, currently, you're up to your 2nd issue. Now, is this like a limited? Like, how long do you expect the series to run for before you cap it off and maybe throw it in the trade?
So right now, the plan is to go with the trade with the first 3 issues. That's gonna be the first arc. So I have another issue coming after this. It's gonna be about 10, 12 pages bigger, I think, than the first 2 issues. I wrote them all together as one big thing, and then decided later that I was gonna split it up. And then after that, I have another arc planned that I'm writing right now. And after, I don't know where I'm going with that after that. I know I want to make an end to it, because I have a hard time with stuff that never ends, like The Simpsons. I mean, I love The Simpsons. Don't get me wrong; they're great, but it's got to end sometime, right?
Yes.
So I always like the Japanese style of like mangas or whatever, where it's a contained story. Like you have a beginning and an end, and you have your character development and all that stuff, and then eventually the story comes to an end, and you just move on to something else, and you start a new fresh story instead of milking it forever.
Yeah, I'm gonna date myself, but I'm old, so here we go. When I was a kid, I was reading the Micronauts from Marvel Comics, right? And it was the first comic I ever saw end, and it was the first comic I ever saw had an ending. and I was just stunned as a kid. I was just like, wow, you can end these things. Because it was the first time I'd ever experienced it. Because I'm reading Thor, I'm reading Captain America. It just goes on and on and on.
Forever,
the endless,
ever.
Yeah, the endless soap opera. It just it just goes forever. So
and I think it's good.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what side of the coin you're on. But I prefer endings. I like to see endings. I just think it's important to end these things.
Yeah, I think it makes the story a little more impactful. I think when it has when there's real consequences in an ending, sometimes it doesn't always end well. There's been some series out there that I'm like, man, how did this end like this? Seinfeld. But
I never watched.
Oh, you never watched Seinfeld? Oh man, you're missing out. It's so good. From New York, you never watched Seinfeld? That's crazy.
No. What's funny is I watched a lot of sitcoms growing up, right? And then I just got turned off to them, right? And then also the other thing is I'm a bit of a smart ass, so I listen to them and I listen to the comedy. I'm like, yeah, it could have been funnier.
Right. I can see that.
That's the worst thing about watching sitcoms. It's like, it could have been written a little bit better.
I can see that. That's funny. That's good. I like that.
So so that's why I just don't even bother. I'm like, I'll watch a drama or watch something else. It's
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, that's cool.
Funny. But I do like stand up though. I like watching guys do stand up, or ladies. I like watching people do stand up. So that's completely different. That's a whole nother animal. So
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, man. So all right, let's get back into it. So with Apex, so you said you got 3 more issues. You got another arc. Now, how many? All right, so you got 1 more arc figured out after this one. Do you have another one you're thinking about after that? Like
I got a little outline.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of outlined a little bit. Okay. I'm kind of focused. I mean, it's probably going to take me a whole year to get the next one, like from written to finished. Maybe even a little bit longer. It looks like we're looking at maybe about 100 pages a year, I think, between me and Brian. So that's probably about what the next one's going to be. So I got a little bit of time to think about it. And flesh it out a little bit more, but I think probably 3 arcs, maybe 4 if I get a little too crazy, but 3 is probably sounding like the sweet spot.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool. I mean, 3 arcs. Yeah, don't do. Yeah, I don't know if you know anything about my series, the Oswald Chronicles. I'm 1,000 pages into it.
Wow.
And I'm probably going to need another 1,500 to finish.
Wow.
Yeah. I want to slam my face in the keyboard every day.
How long have you been working on that
one? Since about 96.
Oh, wow.
Well, I started as prose, and then I started doing the comic version of it in about, say, 2009.
Okay.
About 2009. And I've been working on it steadily ever since with the same artist. And, we're just chugging along, but we just, like 1,000 pages into it. It's just like, okay,
that's
got to keep working. It is.
I'm looking at 25 pages and I'm like, man, this is a lot of work. It is. I mean, it's a lot more work than I ever thought it would be. When I first started this, like, I'm just going to do this and it's going to be crazy. I'm going to draw all these pages. I'm going to color all these pages. I'm going to letter it all. I'm going to do it all myself. And then I realized, no, I ain't doing that. No way in hell. I got other things I want to do. I want to have a life. I want to, play some video games, go outside every once in a while, maybe eat. I don't know.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question since you got into that. So what's the part of the process that you most, I hate using the word dread, but that's usually the best part of it. The best way to phrase it is, what's the part of that process that you sometimes dread?
I think for me, it was the hardest part, and I think the thing that I've kind of really neglected since I've gotten back into art. So I got back into doing art in like 2016, end of 2016. And I really started, when I got back into it, I started with painting, acrylic painting, oil painting, like I said, color and design and stuff like that. And I really just neglected my work with like pencils and just drawing and, composition and stuff like that. So I think I'd have to say probably drawing, and it's still probably my weakest skill as far as art goes. So that's why I color, because it just feels natural to me. And I got Brian doing the pencils and the inks, and it's just such a great team up.
Gotcha. Now who's lettering?
Justin Birch.
Gotcha. Now how does that work? How's that working out? Like, do you get the digital files together and send it to him?
Yeah. So last time with the first book, I sent him like 2 or 3 pages at a time, and it was like really exciting because I'm like, oh, this, because it was my first time, right? And I sent him a couple pages, and he sends me a couple back. I'm like, oh, this is great, and I was like so excited. But this time I wait until I had everything done and then send it to him because I was like, yeah, let's just get it all done at once.
Gotcha. Now
I'm still trying to figure it out.
When you get it back, do you drive him crazy? You sit there and you're like, oh, well, I need to noodle this and I need to fix this line, and
or really. You pretty much. I mean, I got a lot of trust in these guys. These guys have been doing it a lot longer than me, so I looked over it. I mean, I had a couple things I had him change, but I mean, for the most part, I'm like, I kind of feel like I was nagging at him. I asked him like once, he's like, no, man, it's cool, you know. But yeah, I mean, these guys, you know, these guys have been professionals for a while, so I mean, I've had a lot of luck. You know, meeting with these guys that have really taken me under their wing and kind of, you know, pushed me into this madhouse.
Right, in the right direction. And that's awesome. That's awesome. Now I do my own lettering. That's why, and I'm constantly like messing with it. You know, I have my script, and then I'm importing in my lines, and I'm sitting there literally doing an edit as I'm putting in my damn dialogue. I'm like, oh yeah, no, and I'm sitting there.
It is a magical skill, man. Let me tell you, like, you can tell the difference between a good letter and a bad one. And if the letters aren't good, I don't know. I think that's probably the one thing that you cannot mess up is the letters in the book. Because I mean, you can bad art can carry a good story. A good story can carry bad art, or you know what I'm saying. But I mean, if the letters are bad, it's just not good. It's just not.
It's the invisible art.
It is.
You know. Yeah, if you don't see it, it's good. You know, if you don't remember the lettering, that's
you only notice it when it's bad, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You know. Now, you're using Kickstarter as your platform. This is your second campaign?
It is.
Okay, cool. Now, how do you feel like? How are you promoting it? Like, how are you pushing it, you know, forward in Kickstarter? Because, like I said, it's Indie Comics Explained, so you know, I try to like explain process to up and comers, you know, to up and comers, all that jazz.
So for me, I tried. So I did spent a lot of time looking over some of my friends' Kickstarters. A couple of my friends have had some pretty successful Kickstarter campaigns. So I looked over what they're doing and try to just basically just copy what they're doing and just. As far as the campaign goes, so I like to make graphics on my page. I don't know if you've seen my Kickstarter page, but I got like, you know, these big infographics and stuff that I try to keep not so cluttered. I have backed some Kickstarters that do this kind of crazy thing where there's just shit all over the page, and you got to like find like, okay, what do I get if I pay this much money? And it's like, okay, if I go to this spot here, there's like this thing, and then I go all the way down here, and there's like this thing. I try to keep them in like chunks, you know, so it's like. If you're giving me $20, you're getting this stuff right here. And that's, you know, I'm all about simplicity. If it's complicated, I know I won't back it in most cases unless I really want it. Right. So if it's hard to get, I'm not into it. So, so I try to make it as simple as possible. This time I made it a little more complicated, which I really struggled with because I'm like, I got to make it so people can get book one. I got to, you know, for new people to come on and get book one and also get book two. So I really struggle with that because I'm like, how do I do this without making it like hell and chaos for people to do it? Because if it's complicated, people don't want it. You know, we live in this world now where everything is easy, right? You know, you click something, boom, you got it. I mean, I go to Amazon right now and click 2 buttons and I can buy something. You know, it's you know, we're used to that convenience. So. I'm always thinking about simplicity, just trying to make it easy for people to do things. So,
all right, that's cool. Now, I mean, like, also, like, you know, you not to give away any industry secrets or anything. I mean, are you working with like, are you doing like a mailing list? Are you working with that sort of thing? Are you working with? Are you advertising any place?
So I did. I have been running small ads on Instagram and Facebook. I don't really mess with Twitter too much. It gives me a headache every time I open it. I feel like somebody's trying to kill me. It's such a toxic place.
It's a trash fire.
It is. It's so bad. I hate it.
Yeah.
So I do run ads on there. I try not to spend too much money, but just enough to like bump me up into the algorithm because I mean it's really hard to get noticed with all the all the crazy stuff. And even I've noticed if you even mention the word Kickstarter or put the logo on your photos or anything like that, they instantly just like boom, like the engagement plummets. So you got to pay for a little bit of advertising there if you're doing it. And then mostly I just try to get people to engage, find things to get people to talk about. Today I'm giving away 2 sketch covers that I did. I have posts on my Instagram, my Facebook. All you got to do is just tag a friend and like the post, and that's it. And I mean, and be a backer, a physical backer. And that's kind of how I'm just trying to drive some engagement. And so far I think it's doing okay. I'm doing it till tomorrow, so we'll see how it goes. It's the first time I've done it.
Okay, cool. So I have to look into that. I literally backed it just before we started.
Oh, nice. I didn't even see it. Yeah, I haven't looked at it in a little bit. That's one thing I'm trying to do with this one. Last time it was my first one, and I'm just like sitting at the computer all day, like refresh. And it exhausted the shit out of me. I wake up in the middle of the night and open my phone, and like I can barely open my eyes, and I'm like, did anybody back it? Just looking at it forever. So it was really exciting, but it was really exhausting. And this time I'm taking a way easier time on myself with it and just going, it's going to back. People, a lot of people came back from the first one and they really enjoyed it. And I've had a lot of good feedback, and I'm just going to let it do what it's going to do. And I believe in it. So.
All right. Well, that's good. That's awesome. Now, so you're currently using Kickstarter. Now, so you're going to use Kickstarter. You're going to get your 3rd issue. You're going to get your trade out. Now, once you're done with that, what is the next step for
Apex? So right now I'm
publishing house, maybe release it through through Diamond, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I got it out to. I have a couple submissions out to a couple of publishers for the trade, and we'll see where that goes. I mean, it's kind of a crazy time right now for that kind of for companies, especially indie companies. They're like probably not doing as well as Marvel and DC, and I don't even know if Marvel and DC are doing well right now. So I mean, it's probably a rough time for companies to be making decisions on stuff like that. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, I'm plowing forward with or without anybody. So. That's just kind of how I'm doing. I'm doing what I'm going to do, whether somebody says I can or not. So,
yeah. Well, you never know. I mean, because it's a weird time, right? Because we had this whole thing with COVID, and we have DC breaking away from Diamond. I don't know how much you know about that, but they broke away from Diamond. So now that structure from Diamond is kind of like broken, right? Mm-hmm. So the monopoly is no longer really there, and we have 2 other distributors. They're not distributing anybody else at the moment, but I know one of those companies is interested in starting to pick up other accounts. So I think it's a very interesting time for indies because DC has to cut back their line because AT&T just isn't having it anymore, right? Boom, what is it? They have their Berserk thing going on with Keanu Reeves, right? I think he's up to $500,000.
That's crazy. It looks cool too. I might have to go back that one. We'll see. I got some other indie guys I want to support first, and we'll see what I got on my budget.
Yeah, well, I'll wait because I figure Boom is just going to release them as trades anyway, and I'll just buy them later.
Yeah, that's probably a better idea actually. Let the smaller guys get the money first, I guess.
Right. So I'll get it from them. I buy it from a company that discounts heavily, so I'll pick it up at 50% off.
Right.
They'll get their money. But you never know though, because of something like Boom, I would hope, my hope is that they would be able to bring on more indie publishers and help out in that sense. I doubt that'll happen, but it's a nice thought. I think it's a good sentiment. Right. But yeah.
You never know. Weirder things have happened, right?
This is true. So I mean, with Apex, right? Now is this is your first project?
Yeah, this is the first one I've actually like brought out into the world and kind of done. I mean, I have like a bunch of like little things written here and there, little doodles. I mean, nothing that's even close to being finished. But yeah, this is my very first thing I've thrown out there. So
now No, that's really awesome. Have you done any conventions with the first issue?
I haven't because of COVID. So this was going to be the year I was going to go out and I was going to take over. I mean, I've been telling it's been my hashtag for like the past since 2015. A little bit of history about it. So I used to work for Budweiser. I used to be a delivery driver, and I destroyed my back and my neck and in like 2009. Right. So I spent about 5 years doing literally nothing. Like I just depressed, injured, I got, chronic pain all the time, things like that. So, 2015, I'm like, I'm just going to get out and do something. So I started a stupid YouTube channel. It sucked. It was like the worst thing ever. But it was cool because it got me out, right? It got me out of this funk I was in. And what ended up happening out of that, I actually met some comics people at a stupid little convention that was here locally. And that's when I was like, I'm going back to this, because when I was a kid, I wanted to make comics. I wanted to make comics for Marvel, and I wanted to work for Disney. I wanted to be an animator. And finally, I just said, I'm just going to do it. Let's do it. So I started talking with, some of my friends that, were kind of into that thing. And like we, got to that point. And then finally I just broke off on my own and just started doing my own thing. And that's kind of where I'm at now. But my saying from 2015 was I'm going worldwide. So I got hashtag worldwide. I write it on everything, and it's like on my whiteboard and everything. And this year was supposed to be the year I was supposed to go worldwide, but COVID said no. So the book came out this year. Couldn't go out to any conventions. I got a stack of convention exclusives like ready to go for next year. So we'll see what happens.
No, yeah, man. It's rough. It's done it to a lot of people. It just locked everybody down. I have friends who they make their livings at shows and they can't go. You know what I mean?
Right,
so it's crazy. So so this Kickstarter looks like it's doing great. I mean, it looks you're going to do phenomenal. I think you've already met your goal, right?
No, we're close. We're like 60-70%, I think. Let me take a look.
Oh, okay. I don't know. For some reason, I thought you were, because I know you were at like 1,700 or something like that.
Yeah, we're on the third day and we're at like 1,700, I think. So we're doing. Let's see where we at. Yeah, 1,710. So yeah, we're 70, right under 70%. So I think, yeah, I mean, I don't think we'll have any problem getting the first goal.
No, you're gonna do great. No, that's fantastic. So yeah, no, that's great. So I mean, come for the trade paperback. Oh no, okay, this is over there. So, so I mean, how are you printing these? Are you doing offset or digital?
I have a printer. I don't know what offset is, but I have a printer that did the first book, and then my local guy here who used to do my art prints, because I do portrait painting and stuff like that. I'd make prints and go sell those at conventions before I was doing comics, before I actually had any comics published. Right. He actually bought the machinery to print books, so he can help us local guys, because we got another guy here, my good friend, that he does books too. And he's going to be able to do all our stuff now. So we got a local guy right here that's going to do it for us. So
that's nice. Yeah, no, that's really awesome. Because I mean, finding a good printer is always hard. Especially if you got somebody local that you can just go drive over to and say, "Hey, what's up, man?"
Yeah, I know. Well, then I don't have to wait for it to get shipped here. I have to worry about damages or anything like that. So, exactly. And if I have a problem, I can be like, "Hey, I told him today. I actually went and talked to him today. I'm like, this is great, because if you mess anything up, I can just come down here and choke you." He's like, "Oh, that's great. That's cool." So.
He's like, "Thanks for that. I know what to watch out for." Right?
Yeah. So I mean, it's good, and I have a good relationship with him. He's a great guy. I've been working with him for a while. He does. Anytime I need something, I'm like, "Hey, can you print this for me?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." Yeah, I'll take him some Bristol board and have him go cut me some sketch cards or something like that, and he'll cut them and print my logos on them and stuff. He's like, "Here, yeah, like, does it for like nothing."
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. All right. So all right, we've been at this for a little while, so we're close to the end, but we're not there just yet. So I got a few more funky questions for you. But before we get to those things, first, where can people find you, your work, and everything else you're doing?
So I am Kenny Aitken. So it'd be Kenny Aitken Art, or at Kenny Aitken Art. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on Twitter. My Twitter's kind of an overflow. So like anything I post to Instagram goes to Twitter. Cool. I check my Twitter. If somebody messages me on Twitter, I'll say hi. I'll wave to you, but I don't really engage too much on Twitter. I probably should more because people say it's, way better than everything else. I don't know why, but I guess I should probably start listening to that advice. Yeah, just basically, Instagram's my main thing. Facebook, I interact with a lot on Facebook and Instagram. And like I said, Twitter's just, we know it's a dumpster fire.
Yeah. Well, I've heard people who've done actual studies on it. They say most backers or the most interaction from Kickstarter, more interaction from Kickstarter and Instagram. They say Twitter, though, only about 1%.
Really?
You'll get. Yeah.
I noticed like Facebook, like when I look at my my graphs or whatever on the dashboard for Kickstarter, a lot of my traffic comes from Facebook, a lot of it.
Right.
And I mean, I do more interaction on Instagram than Facebook, and Facebook's just driving like most of my traffic.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's just one of the things. I don't know why that is, but it is. Just Twitter is what it is.
My wife told me yesterday. She thinks it's because, like, with Instagram, if I can't like post a link in my post, so you can't just click on it, right? You have to go back to the bio and then click the link in the bio, which I think it's like I was talking about before, convenience. If you got to take that extra step to do something, you're just not going to do it, right? If I can click on something and go straight to where I need to go, like on Facebook, then that's just how it's going to be easier,
Yeah, that's probably true. Now, the next question is there anything I didn't ask you that you wanted me to ask you or that you wanted to discuss?
Oh, man. I got a list of stuff I wrote down the other day, but I don't know if any of this is relevant to this.
What is relevant?
Oh, man. I've been trying to write things down because I've done a few interviews now, and sometimes I forget what I'm going to say. So I'm like, let's get a little cheat sheet going here. So one thing I'm doing for this Kickstarter is different than the last one. And I'm actually going to go back and do this for the first book. So I'm doing a Samurai Cinema edition. And what that is I'm taking all of the panels and cutting all the color out of them. And then I'm adding film grain over the tops of the panels and giving it an old samurai movie book or a movie feel. It looks pretty sweet. Let me see if I have one around here somewhere. I don't think I do. Anyways, it's got a really sweet look to it. I kind of got inspired to do that by I don't know if you play video games or not. There's a new game called Ghost of Tsushima. Have you heard of that?
I haven't played. I'm obsessive compulsive, so I can't play video games because I'll just stay on it. I won't stop. So I gave up on them years ago.
I've been having the opposite problem lately, actually. So I'll turn on a game and I'm like, I'm instantly just not interested. Like I get all excited, like I want to play it. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna play the shit out of this game, and then like I turn it on, like 10 minutes later, I'm like, all right, I want to do something else now. I'm just I'm so scatterbrained these days. Anyway, so they got a mode in there. So I don't know if you know Akira Kurosawa. He was a famous Japanese director.
Him, I know.
So the new game, the samurai game, they have a mode called Kurosawa mode where you turn off and it makes the game look like you're playing in an old samurai movie. So I'm like, oh man, and I'm just going to shamelessly rip this off because I mean it is such a great idea, right? So I'm looking at my book and I looked through a pile of indie books that I had bought in the last couple of years, and I'm like, I actually have a couple things that are similar to this. Somebody had a book and it had like a couple people did like manga editions where they just took the color out. It was just like a black and white thing, right? And I'm like, I could do that, but I'm going to do that better. I'm gonna make it black and white. I'm gonna do my due diligence and make this thing look sick, right? So it's got all the film grain and stuff in it. It's got all the little effects and filters and stuff in it. It looks really cool.
Cool. Now let me ask you a question. So which is your favorite Akira Kurosawa film?
Seven Samurai.
Oh, okay. Because I really favor the Yojimbo movies.
I like those too. Those are really good. Seven Samurai is probably my most favorite one. I just watched Ikiru this a couple weeks ago. It's not a samurai movie, but it's I don't know if you've seen it.
Is that the one that's the they ask everybody the different questions, or they like?
No. That one's it's about a guy who he's like an office worker, and it's like he's stamping papers all day long. And he's a boring life, and he gets stomach cancer, so he's gonna die. And so then he realizes, like, man, my life sucks. Like, I'm just gonna go like do all this fun stuff, and like he's does all this stuff. So yeah, it's pretty good film. What's that one called that you were talking about?
I forgot the name of it. It's where it's a period piece, and they into like it's done from this perspective of like three or four different people, and each one gives a different version of the same story.
Huh. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, it's an Akira Kurosawa movie.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but yeah, I remember it being good. You know,
Yeah, there's
I think the
one
last
too.
thing. Yeah.
It wasn't a samurai. Two of the ones that one of them I actually have and I haven't watched yet. It's called High and Low. I've been wanting to watch that one. I think it's like it's a ransom type movie,
Right.
in like 1960-ish Tokyo or something like that. And then the other one I did watch was Dreams, which is kind of a psychedelic thing. It was
Right.
one of his last films in the early 80s, I think.
No, the last thing I saw of his was Ran. The it's based on one of Shakespeare's plays,
Oh, okay.
but he adapted it to like samurai.
I'll have to check that one out too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about the last one. Hidden Fortress was the other one I really like.
Is that it? That might be it.
Hidden Fortress is the one that Star Wars was based off of.
Oh no, that's way early. Okay, yeah, no, that's not the one. That's like his first. That's I think like his first or second movie.
Yeah, that's an early one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great film.
Yeah.
I mean, it is Star Wars. Like it's the first Star Wars movie. I mean, you just got following two idiots through a civil war. And R2D2 and C3PO, and they're just basically those two dudes are R2D2 and C3PO, and they're just walking through the Civil War, and all kinds of fucked up shit happens to them, but they're not the story.
Yeah.
Everything else is the story. It's great.
Yeah, I probably went through a kick probably 15 years ago just watching all these Japanese movies.
I love them.
Yeah, no, they're fantastic. Have you ever seen the Zatoichi, the blind samurai?
No.
There's a series of them. There's like 27 movies.
I'm gonna write this
with
down.
The same
Zatoichi?
Zatoichi, yeah. And there's all of them I think are good, but there's like maybe 10 of them that are excellent. I think they're part of the Criterion collection.
Okay, so you can probably just buy like one box and it has them all.
Yeah. Zatoichi, yeah.
Those are some collections too.
Yeah. Like I said, I think all of them are good, but there's like a good 10 of them that are like really, really good. And it's and if you like really action-packed, chop them up, where the guy just goes berserk and murder. I mean, I was surprised. I'm like, how's there anybody left in Japan after this guy's done? So who's left? Yeah, but yeah. All right, that's cool. Nice. All right, now we're gonna move on to some of these goofy questions that I like to ask. So, the first one is, if you had the choice of any artist, living or dead, that you could get to do a cover for your book, who would you get?
Oh shit, man, that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's so many. So many. Chris Bachalo.
Okay, cool.
Probably my favorite artist of all time.
Mm-hmm. No, he's incredible. I mean, yeah, I agree. But like you said, there's so many,
Right.
Now, Kenny, if you got the call up to the big companies and they gave you the golden ticket and they said, Kenny, any character, any series, and it doesn't matter. It could be Marvel, DC, it could be any of the other companies. Who would you pick?
As a writer, and an artist, I'd probably go with X-Men. I think.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you have any ideas for like what you'd want to do with them, or is it just something like you would just think about it when you got it?
I'd probably just figure it out when I got there. I don't. That'd be such a pipe dream to just even get to even think about doing something like that. I like what's going on with them right now. I think they're doing a great job with what Jonathan Hickman's doing right now with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's in pretty good hands there. So far, so good. I don't know what they're going to do next, but
yeah. I mean, Hickman, I'm always a fan. I've been a fan of his for a long time. See, the thing, it's funny. I only read this stuff like 3 or 4 years down the line when it's in a giant omnibus. That's when I buy it.
Right. I read. What did he do? Infinity. I think it was that Avengers thing. I didn't even realize that was him that wrote it, but I noticed like the distinct style he has, where he has those big pages full of like infographics and stuff. I like that. I think it's a really cool idea.
Yeah. Well, I think he's a graphic designer. So I mean, I think that just falls into his wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think it does a lot for the story. It moves it along kind of and breaks it up too. 'Cause a lot of times I really hate it when I go through a book and I'm like, I just read this whole thing and I don't remember what anything looks like. So I got to go back through and look at it again because it just goes so fast. And with those, a lot of people can criticize that they don't like it. They're like, oh, that's just an extra page in there and it doesn't have anything on it. But like it really does set the pace of the book and how you're reading it. Lets you digest all of the pretty pictures you just looked at, and then you see this blank page and with some text on it. You're like, oh, okay, cool. And then you digest that, and then you go back, jump back into it, and it kind of gives it a nice flow.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, yeah. What I'm waiting for is East of West, because he finally finished it. So they're releasing the 3rd volume in a big, nice, chunky book that I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I'm like, damn it, Image, send me that book. Yeah.
Yeah, they did a really good one a while back that I picked up. What was it? God Country, I think it was.
Oh yeah, I haven't gotten that one. I haven't read that one yet.
That's a good one. It's a good one.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's on the list. I'm waiting for the trade to come in. Yeah. So, all right. Now listen, I got some comparatives for you. All right. So we'll have a little fun with these. I'll softball you, and then we'll work our way in. Captain America or Batman?
Oh man, that's tough. Gotta go with Cap.
Okay. Why?
America, man. I don't know. Batman. There's a little more dimension to Captain America, I think. Batman's. I love Batman, but I mean, like a lot of people, and I agree with this a lot. Like his rogues gallery is what makes him so good. Without his villains, he's just a regular dude in a bat costume. Captain America's got a little bit more character development there, I think.
Okay. Cool. Fair enough. Godzilla or Gamera?
Godzilla all the way.
Okay. Cool. Lord of the Rings or Star Wars?
Ooh, that's tough. Yeah. I think I'd take Lord of the Rings.
Okay. Why?
I don't know. Fantasy. I guess the fantasy setting. I think I like that a little more than the space sci-fi kind of thing.
Okay. Fair enough. Kirk or Picard?
Oh man, never been a huge Star Trek fan. I think I'd go with Captain Kirk. I think only because I never really watched too much Last Generation. My dad kind of watched it a little bit when I was a kid, but we grew up watching Star Trek. Dinner time. In the evening. So yeah, Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk. All right. Fair enough. So you're a big fantasy fan, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right. Comparatively. So, all right. So I'll hit you up with this one. Harry Potter or Narnia?
Narnia.
Okay. Why?
I haven't read all the Harry Potter books and I haven't seen all the movies fully. Kind of, Harry Potter's been a weird one for me. I read the last book first by accident. So my mom had this book sitting on her table and I'm like, what's that? It looks kind of cool. I picked it up and she's like, oh, it's the new Harry Potter book. I'm like, can I borrow it? She's like, yeah, sure. So I read it. I had no fucking idea what was going on at all. And then I was like, oh, this is like the last book. Okay. So I read the whole thing and then realized that I fucked up. And then so I went back, I got the audiobook for the first one and I listened to it. I'm like, this is dry as fuck. I don't like this. Like, how did this get made into 8 books? I mean, it's okay. It just didn't do anything for me. So Narnia, I read all those books. Those were cool, in grade school.
Gotcha. You a horror fan?
Oh yeah.
Pinhead or Freddy Krueger?
Freddy all the way.
Okay. Cool. Walking Dead or Dawn of the Dead?
Dawn of the Dead.
Nice. Okay. I'll ask you. Well, I'll ask you a couple more of these, and then we'll wrap this up. Stan Lee or Jack Kirby?
Jack Kirby.
Okay. Why?
Just the art, man. He's just the art coming out of that guy is just fantastic. Stan Lee too. Stan Lee did a little bit drawing back in his day, but I mean, yeah, that's a tough question because I mean I grew up in the mornings. We used to before we go to school, the Iron Man cartoons that come on in the morning. You know, that shitty Iron Man cartoon from the 90s.
No, I remember, yeah.
Always Stan Lee talking or first thing in the morning before school, like, you know, talking about how, you know, you can do all this cool stuff and like, you know, how to believe in yourself and all this shit, you know, and always so positive, right? Like Stan Lee is such a positive dude. But yeah, Jack Kirby, that art, man, just outstanding.
Gotcha. All right. Anime or manga?
Oh, that's tough too. Anime, I think. I think anime. I like the adaptations, I think.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. I'll ask you one more and then we'll wrap this sucker up. Akira or Nausicaa?
Akira. Oh, man.
Okay.
Oh man.
You gotta think about that.
That's a rough one. Oh man, Nausicaa. Oh shit, man. Do I have to answer that? That's crazy.
You have to answer.
I'm actually thinking about it right now. I'm like, I mean, those are equally. Those are like that's like such a perfect like equal matchup. Like those are both fantastic films. Akira, you just got to go with Akira, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. Listen, it's it's all subjective. You know, I love both movies too. So
Oh man, they're good. Yeah.
So we made it, Kenny. We made it. We made it to the end.
We did. That's fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
So game show for a second there.
Just no prizes. But so Kenny, please let everybody know where they can find you and find your work.
So at Kenny Aitken Art on Instagram, Facebook. It's AITKEN. I need to change my name to something else so it's easier to find. Like I said, convenience, right? So Kenny Aitken Art, Instagram, Facebook. Apex Cybernetic Samurai Owl issue 2 is on Kickstarter right now. We're going to be funded like any day now. So
that's definitely going to happen. It's guys, let me tell you, I looked at it. I really liked it. I backed it myself. It looks like an awesome book. I'm looking forward to getting it. So please, his link is in the show notes. So you can just hit the show notes, go buy that book, and I'll be talking to you all soon. And please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the show. Let people know we're on, and let people know that this show is going on, and we're interviewing fantastic creators like Kenny. And once again, go check out the Oswald Chronicles, and I'll talk to you all soon. Have a good night, guys. Bye.
See ya.
See ya.